My name is David Alfie-Ward. I'm a 30-year-old ambassador for Norfolk Waveney Mind. I'm an ambassador for Mind because I suffer with bipolar disorder. I'm actually originally from London and I moved to Norfolk in 2019 where I had a mental health breakdown, and Norfolk Waveney Mind were a very strong support network for me. I'm in show business. I'm actually a stand-up comedian professionally, and there's a lot of pressure that comes with that job, and I'd been suffering for a long time with mental health, but always kind of having to put on a show, never allowing myself to address the emotions and the feelings that were going on in my head, and never going professionally to the doctor. And then one day it got too much and I took myself to a train station and I attempted to end my life there. I was pulled back by a passenger on the station, and I moved to Norfolk where my mum had retired, originally just to get away from the hustle and bustle of London for a couple of months. And I stayed, and I still wasn't very well at all. February 2019, I overdosed, and I was found and had to have my stomach pumped. And that's when Norfolk Waveney Mind got involved with my story. They were there to support me. They met me for coffee twice a week, and they were really that stopgap, because there's such a waiting list to get professional help in terms of psychiatrists and diagnosis and medication. And Mind were that support unit that got me from attempting suicide to the professional help. They filled that gap to make sure that I did have all the support I needed, that I was going to be all right. You know, I saw how it affected my mum and my sisters, and how worried they were about me. I mean, to this day, I still, I'm back to work now. I'm doing very, very well. But to this day, I still, if I don't check in with people for a couple of days, I get phone calls, and you don't realize the ripple effect it has when you have a mental health breakdown on the people that care for you. What Mind does, why it is so important, is they help people that are in the lowest of the lows that the human brain can get. I always say that Mind didn't save my life, but they kept me on a life support machine until I was strong enough to breathe again. But I think it's important to understand mental health because, there's still, to this day, there's a stigma around it. And it's not right. It's not how we should be living our life in this day and age. We should be accepting mental health just as we accept the common cold or, tonsillitis. People get unwell, they get physically unwell and they get mentally unwell. And there's no shame in that. But there seems to be this stigma to it. So these services like Mind and other services that allow us to kind of not just, get the help that we need, but just being there and just flying a flag for mental health is raising awareness to those who may not accept it or break down the, people that have a stigma towards it. Just by seeing Mind out and about campaigning will help them understand that, this is a bigger problem, this is a huge problem, and we can address it if we kind of work together.